This is the section of the course where things get really interesting, because this is where we are introducing styling and CSS styling and everything about CSS styling in order to present our HTML content differently. And the thing with styling is this is where you can actually place your own spin on it, and how this HTML gets presented, you can deliver it in different ways just by applying some styling. And so within the course, we've got a number of different ways where we can add styling within our web page. So of course we could do an inline style, so we could add the style attribute, and we could do something like background color and then pick a color here. So this is just to demonstrate that how easy it is to add styling. And so we see here immediately here on the right hand display area that we get this background color red. So effects are very visible with styling. And this is what I mean by we can add our own spin when we start adding in styling. So there's a number of different ways where we could add styling into our website. So we could use the style tags. So that was a misspelling, so I get rid of that. And we could use styling tags. So we could do something like, so I'm just going to get rid of this inline styling, because the problem with the inline styling is that if you ever have to make any changes, and let's say you've got a website with a lot of pages and your web page has grown here, and you come back to your website and you are starting to wonder, well, you know, I want to change this red to blue, but I've used it in various spots within my HTML code, so it might be a little bit difficult to kind of go through every line of code and update it. And this is where we apply styling, where we can do a page styling here. So we could do something that applies to this page in particular, and we can keep it up here within that head section. So if I wanted to identify the header, I could do it within this type of fashion where I use the hash header, and then anything within here, so I could do that same background color property, and maybe I'll change it to aqua. And this again, this is actually being presented from, so now we see that now we've got an aqua color, and those colors, this is another really cool feature about brackets. And I don't mean to be selling brackets. If you do have an editor that you're using and you're comfortable with, then please do go ahead and use it. But so just in case you're wondering how I'm getting these pop-ups, so all of this is built in within brackets, and this is why it's a really usable editor, because it provides you this kind of quick colors, references to tag references, and so on. And you see it a lot within JavaScript when you're typing out your JavaScript, that it's always good to be presented with the options. Sometimes you might misspell it, and in this case with styling, you're not always aware of all the different color, the pre-built colors, so it's really easy to kind of pick those colors within this way. And we see now we change the background color, we're being presented with the header here, background color, and everything is being presented within that web page. So one of the disadvantages of doing it this way, and I know that I already said there's a disadvantage to doing it within the page, but this is also a disadvantage. So let's say you have a website and you are building out a website, you've got a lot of pages again, and you've got styling on every single page. So that means that if I've got index, if I've got about, if I've got products, then I have to go to each and every one of those pages in order to access this particular styling. So if I want to change that header, then I have to open up every page to do that. And that's quite a bit of work, especially when you want to build out a template that gets utilized throughout your entire website. So there is a third option, and this is the preferred way to go when you're adding styling into your web page, and that's simply to link out to a style sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link out to a style sheet, and I'm going to then create that style sheet. So I'm going to just link out to a page called style.css, which I still have yet to create, and I'm going to show you how to create that really quickly. So we've got REL style sheet. So this helps the browser once again understand what we're doing and what we're linking out to. And then just close off that tag. So now we're going to be looking for style.css as our style sheet that we're going to utilize within building out and presenting content from the website. And one of the things as well that's important to note here is that if you've got particular styling that you want to apply on that particular page and only that particular page, so you wouldn't be doing something for your entire template of your website. That would be contained within style.css. But let's say on this particular page, I was using one element that I'm not using anywhere else, and I want to apply some styling to that. So then it's okay to place that within that head area. So let's create a brand new file here, and I'm just going to show the sidebar, and maybe I'm going to do a horizontal split. So this gives me the ability to have two separate view areas here where I'm writing out the code. So we've got our original index.html, and then this is going to be just style.css. I'm going to save this as style.css. And now we've got our style page linked. And if you're wondering the way styling works, so whatever styles we get presented with first, these are the ones that are going to take precedent over the other ones. That's why generally if you've got inline styling, that's going to take precedence over it as well. And you also do have the option, if you want to make sure that a particular style overwrites whatever additional styling is done, then you could add that important to any styling. And what I mean by that is you can do, so you could do something like that to add the important tag to make sure that the browser understands that this is the actual color that you want to utilize. So you have that option as well. So let's create some styling here. So I can do, maybe if I want to do for the menu, because I do have that menu in there. Or actually, I'm going to do it for the body, so we have something different. So when we're using IDs within a web page, you're only going to have one ID with that name, and IDs are indicated with the hash. But there's two other ways in order to identify your content in your HTML. So you could name it by tag. So you could set properties on a tag. So if I wanted my body to have a background color, so I'm using background color because these are the ones that are most visible when I make the change. And when I refresh it, we see that we get this background color blue, and this is attached to the entire body tags. So if I had multiple body tags, it would show up. So same thing if I attach it to the list items, we can see that all the list items get this background color of blue immediately, and we see that they're being presented in that way. So it's over top because the menu is nested within the header, so the header would get that orange background, the menu doesn't get any colors, and then all the way down to the list items, and then they actually get that background color applied. And lastly, there is another way of applying styling, and that's via the class name, and this is done with dot and then the class that we want it to select. So here we've got our sections. So maybe for our sections, if we want to set a background color, and I know these colors are really not going together well, but again, for demonstration purposes, and of course I'm going to update these as we progress through the course. So there we have it. We have got all of our sections have a background color, our list items have a background color, our heading here has a background color. So the next lesson, we're going to start applying some additional styling and really start to build out this website. So I'm going to hide that sidebar, and now I've got my CSS file. I'm linked to it up here, so it's linking to this CSS file, and this gives me the ability to update my styling on my web page. And in fact, I'm going to link to the same CSS on every single one of these pages. So if I had multiple pages on the website, I'd link to that same style sheet, and then that would give me the ability to update my entire website, the styling on my website, by just changing one single file. So next lesson, let's dive deeper into CSS and see what it can do.